All right, David Prince, welcome back to Pre-Market Prep. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys. By the way, your voice, man, I was listening to you on something the other day. You are like made to do this job. I'm sorry, but I just had to say it. I was listening to you on some, I don't know, maybe it was Twitter, and I'm like, this guy has got the voice of gold. Anyway.
Maybe he's got a radio voice. He really
I mean,
does.
he just does. It's so
He
good.
does. Yeah, he does. He's smooth talker too, this AB. He's good, man. He's good. That's why we got him. He's good, David. You got a good voice here too, though, and you got to, you're good at picking stocks here, David. So, I mean, first I want to get your thoughts. Obviously, we're talking video, we can talk, but let's talk overall market really here, because it's such an interesting market where, the S&P seem to be so resilient no matter what. You get a significant sell-off in NVIDIA, and the S&Ps have started to come off a little bit here, but it's like NVIDIA's loss is other stocks' gains. And we saw so many stocks actually having a really good day yesterday. At one point in time, IBM was way up. I mean, even in tech, it's like this rotation continues to keep stocks, and keeps the S&P high. What are you looking at right now? Because NVIDIA's been wicked, but what are you watching?
So the first thing is, I thought yesterday was one of the most efficient rotational days I've seen, like in my career, maybe. I mean, so many people thought NVIDIA, if that happens, it wasn't a cute rotational day. It was biotech, it was financials, it was small cap. It was pretty broad, right? So what I see is a market that for me is not an investing market. Like when I look at valuations on what's working, there's not a lot I want to invest in. When I look at valuations on what's not working, those are about the only names I want to invest in, and yet they're not working. So I'm caught between being a trader and an investor. Long story short, it would be nice to say IWM is going to work, but we all know that a lot of these companies are not profitable, and it may not be that simple, even if we are going to cut rates. So I'm more of a trader here, just to really make it simple, right? I'm looking at like this type of volatility to me offers plenty of money to be made, and versus where I was 6 months ago, where I really saw a lot of names to invest in. Right now, I'm down to maybe 4 to 5 names that are priced right that I invest in, whether it's indexes or stocks, and now looking at trading opportunities like I thought NVIDIA was yesterday. If IWM starts to work, if XBI starts to work, but just a quick example, I know financials led us yesterday, but I bought JPM 50 points ago. I get it, it's one times book, all that good stuff, but it's had a big move. I'm not excited to buy it up here. So I'm a trader. That's where I'm at. I think based on valuations, I don't see a lot to invest in.
Do you find yourself when the market gets like this, David, trading stocks that you wouldn't normally trade, like trading some value stocks? Do you start dipping into what's hot? Like yesterday, energy was doing well, or do you stick to your normal list of names you know?
So that's a great question. I force myself, because if you stay in your comfort zone, you miss what's working, right? Like yesterday. So I'll broaden out and definitely, but at the same time, like yesterday, here's like literally what I walked through. I was like, if I want to worry about making money today, I have to buy a financial on a dip, or I have to add to XBI or IWM or something. But if I want to make money the next few days, where's the best risk reward? I said, I'm not worried about today. I really see an opportunity in NVIDIA, 3 days down, 15, 16%. I'm not worried about today. So the answer is I'll broaden out. Example, I'm lucky this morning, Inner Circle, myself, we're all long ENVX. It's not a stock I typically would buy. I don't like these small cap story stocks. But 2 months ago, I saw a change. I think I told you guys about it. I saw a change in character. I saw certain types of news items that made me believe whether or not it's a real company or not, the stock's going to work. So yes, I broaden out when this happens, but I don't force it. Yesterday, I said, you know what? If I don't make money, it's fine. I'm more worried about tomorrow and the next day. So
where do you find a stock like ENVX? Because that's not even on my radar. I may find it from social media or something, but where do you find that from? Is this the T3?
Being 54 and literally having a lot of screens and literally having a list of small cap story stocks. So if the markets change, I'm going to look at Snap. I'm going to look at ENVX. I'm going to look at, I don't know, let's say ones that actually matter. Powell is a big name for me. So I'm always reading, looking for an edge if there's something I can get. Like I never get comfortable. I feel like there's always got to be something out there. So I'm not going to pretend I do it. A lot of people do it through like IBD, new highs, that sort of stuff. For me, it's like always on Twitter, always reading research. ENVX 2 months ago had a big OEM announcement. They didn't announce who the client was. Stock opened up 25%. And it was on the highest gamers. I was like, I remember this story. Stock, I once bought it at 10, wrote it to 23 and sold and just never looked at it again. And guys are loud on it, like some big names are in it that are on Twitter. And I said, when a stock does this, it's a change in character. If you look at a firm, when it gapped up, it kept going and went up 200%. If you look at Snap, same thing. I was like, this reminds me of the same pattern, so I'm going to follow it. And I stayed with it. And every dip I'd buy, and that's, I didn't reinvent the wheel. I just try and keep up to date with new stories. Like Hut is another, not a big small cap guy, but I know Hut because I got a buddy who owns 1 million shares. And it's like one of the leading names in Bitcoin miners recently, if you take a look at HQT. Is it quality? No, but it's working. So I just try and keep myself up to date because I always feel like if you get just comfortable with trading NVIDIA and Amazon and JPM, and eventually, like, they're not going to work. So my job's to kind of expand people's horizons and follow a lot of stocks. So long-winded answer, but that's how I do it.
And then David, we've got this QR code up on the screen right now to join your free webinar. So is breakthrough trading, is that something that you try to find these breakthrough, like breakout trades? Is that what that is?
I honestly don't know what that is. I'd love to answer it, like, it's not a strategy of mine. What I will say though, and maybe what it refers to, is how to find an ENVX or even ENPH. I got very bullish, I don't know what that means, but ENPH recently at 112 to 113. And rather than say it's turned around and the fundamentals back it up, I said it's probably going to follow First Solar. It was a big win for me. I actually sold it early. It went to like 130, 135. I sold most of it. It went to 140. And also how to understand it's more of a story. The fundamentals don't back it up, so you do sell those. Last thing I'll say, how to find like an SMCI, right? Like we all know what it is, but it was left for dead and no one cared about it for about a month. And then I'm sure, listen, you might have done the same thing, Dennis. I looked at it 2 weeks ago and I said, okay, every single name is going to highs. Today, SMCI at 800 is cheaper at 800 than it was yesterday because NVIDIA demands it. And there'll be a sympathy play and it will go up. And then to know enough to say, don't try and catch the top because sympathy plays aren't backed up by numbers often or fundamentals. It's an emotional trade. You got to sell emotional trades. So that's probably what it refers to.
Got it. And then since you mentioned SMCI, in the chip space specifically right now, we've had these, the dip is kind of getting bought today, but NVIDIA went down like 10% in the last 2 weeks. Do you think we're past the run up in these chip stocks and we're going to have some more consolidation or some choppy trading, or you think this was just a dip and we're going to go straight back to where we were, where these things seem like they're going up every single day?
I really think that it was a moment to take notice. Last Thursday on that pre-market, I had started early on Tuesday. I said, I want to stay along a little bit. I had a trailer left in NVIDIA long. I said, I actually see nothing here I'm excited about. So I actually kind of got net short for about 24 hours. I shorted ARM pre-market 174. I bought puts on NVIDIA starting Tuesday. That, like usual, I sold way too early, the 132s. Took some profits Friday, but point was I wish I had them yesterday. And I think now they're trades, right? And I think they need to build. This is a monstrous move. I've been trading these since Whittington was the king of semiconductors and Niles was an analyst. Like this, I've never seen a move in semis like this. Micron is awesome, and I expect great numbers. But come on, Micron and I was wrong, but Micron just had a move it hasn't had in 2 decades. So I think it's going to calm down.
People forget it's cyclical. People forget like DRAM Micron, it's so cyclical, and I've been burned in Micron, chasing it before. And this is the chase of all chases.
Yeah.
The
people
stock
don't realize
started the year around $65.
So tell me if you agree, because I just wanted to get this out. Yesterday I said, listen, we can chart. I do kind of want to buy Broadcom if it gets closer to that 1500. But make a long story short, I said, you can chart Broadcom, MU, ARM, or you could just figure out where you want to buy NVIDIA, because they're all going to still be pin action off of NVIDIA. So I looked at 3 days yesterday to the downside. I said, listen, I can't tell you this is the bottom, but what I see, if you look at the chart, is that 115 previous high, is that should be the bottom before we have one bounce. Then what happens after that, all bets are off. So I took a real shot yesterday. I was buying 117s, I was buying 118s, I was buying after hours 116s. This morning, you better believe I was up at 4 a.m. and between 121 and 122, I'm selling a lot of it. So I think we're in that market. And if I miss some, fine, but none of these are great investments. NVIDIA owns the world right now, and I think they're going to continue to. But that doesn't mean the stock can't pull back. I think this is a lesson for a lot of people, that the free money moment may take a break for a while, and that's fine, right?
David, you mentioned that you were in and out of the NPH, and now it's trading. We've had some news on it. It's just really at a discount now. I don't know where you bought it before, but could you give us a technical setup where you dip your toe? I mean, you got a double bottom here at 105. Now that it's come in this much, you go back to the well, or?
No, it's a great question. I'll tell you, and to be really just direct about it, it was a big win. So when it pulled back from 140 to 123, 124, it was like near the 21. Jay, I bought some. And at 120, I said, this doesn't feel right. I'm actually going to take a loss. It's been a big win. Let's not turn a win into a loss. I took a loss, and Monday there was news, one of the major solar players in Germany lowered guidance. And if you can see, it took the whole space down. So here's what I'm going to say. I wasn't smart. Maybe I was lucky. It worked. I'm not going back to it. Like these cute stories, it's fine if fundamentals back them up to me and the stock's not trading well, I'll buy ugly. But if the fundamentals suck and the chart sucks, I'm not going to try and be smart. So I'm not going back to it. That's the truth. I may miss some, but I'll be okay if I miss it. Solar is really in pain right now. The whole industry.
Solar Edge today, David. I don't know if you're looking at this one. Convertible offerings down 19% again. It's like the most one-sided trade ever. The stock just goes down every day.
And when they do convert down here, what does it say, by the way? Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
they're telling me they need money.
Yeah. I mean, that's my point. It's like they're kind of desperate. So yeah, I'm staying away from this group. I got lucky. I'm not going back to it. And if I do, it'll be First Solar, and that'll be it, because at least it's the real profitable company.
Best of breed. Best of breed. What do you think of the financials? I mean, the banks have perked up here quite a bit lately. I mean, Bank America looks constructive to me. Obviously, a little bit of strength maybe off of NVIDIA's loss, but I'm just looking, just going through a few bank charts here right now. Goldman Sachs not far from the highs. Bank America right there near the highs. Citigroup a little farther off, but a good day yesterday here. What do you think of the banks here?
Citigroup has been my favorite. I did get flat around 60. I was pretty large in it, low 50s. I think, right, here's how I look at it. If the market has more to it, I'm not excited to buy them. But at one times book, if they can take some of the stocks we're seeing that are leading, the Micron's higher, then who am I to say they won't take Goldman through this 470 area and go to 500, and JPM and Bank of America? So my answer is, if we're going to have elevated PEs, these guys are still reasonable, right? Maybe they're higher than they typically are, but they're certainly cheap, right? Relative to the market, I think they work. I'm just personally not excited to buy higher, but I totally get if they're going to start taking Micron up, if they're going to start re-rating Apple, if they're going to do all of this, if they're going to ignore Meta spending more money and say it's cheap and take it from 400 to 500, why the hell can't they buy, Goldman Sachs trading at one time? Well, Goldman's trading more than one times book now, but you get the idea. So yeah, they trade well. I'm going to probably skip the trade, truthfully. Not excited to buy them here, but they look okay. I don't see the risk reward being that good.
What about here, just the overall market, David? I mean, do you expect us to remain up here around all-time highs? Are you even concerned with that? Or are you more just worried about trading your individual stocks day in and day out?
Answer to that is to get net positive on my P&L week after week or month after month. I'm trying to look underneath and not pay attention to the indices, but I'm more bearish. Last week, I was short the Qs at 485, 485, 484 pretty aggressively a few times, including puts on Thursday. So my answer is like Qs, I think, are coming into at least that 476 spot. SPY, maybe 536 eventually. I don't, to me, the next 4 or 5% is probably down. And I think that sets up really well. So then as we get closer to an actual rate cut, maybe we can go higher. So to me,
you think that's what it's going to, I mean, we've done pretty well without the rate cuts. I mean, do you think that's really going to be the catalyst? Of course, we have some inflation numbers coming out, right?
You're right. No, in fact, if it's for the wrong reasons, right? If it's like because things are slowing down so great, no, that may not help it. So I think the better part that I feel comfortable with is, you're right, that may not actually make us go up. I think the next 4 or 5% is down. Maybe the problem is everyone hopes that, so it doesn't happen, but I'm okay sitting it out if it doesn't. In other words, doing less and just doing these extreme spots like on an NVIDIA when I see a great spot like that, because it offers great alpha and there's plenty of money to be made, right? And catching the NVX at 10, that's 14 today, or an NVIDIA, we're buying after hours at 116 yesterday. It's almost 122. So I am looking underneath for my alpha, for my P&L, and hopefully the market will pull back to make it more investable. Here, I think the Qs, the SPY, a little bit more down. I know the Dow's leading us, but I don't know, Caterpillar, Boeing, these are not appetizing to me at these levels.
Well, all right, we've been on the line with David Prince from T3. Again, we do have that QR code on the bottom of the screen if you want to join David's free webinar. We also have a link in the description. Make sure to check that out. David, always a pleasure to catch up with you. Always fun to have you here on Pre-Market Prep.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me. Have a great day.
Of course.
Thanks, David.